Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever felt it? That feeling like the whole world is holding its breath, like something big is about to happen? Well, today we're diving into just one single verse from the Bible. A verse our source material calls a divine alarm clock for the times we're living in. We're going to unpack its command, its context, and what it means for you and me right here, right now. And here's that question right here. It really taps into a feeling that's just hard to ignore, isn't it? That sense of unease, of anticipation. And it's exactly this feeling that sets the stage for the biblical command we're looking at, which, according to our source, has never, ever been more critical than it is today. So this is it. This is the verse at the very heart of everything we're talking about today. Hebrews 10:25. I mean, think about it. This was written nearly 2,000 years ago. But our source argues that this is not some friendly suggestion. No way. It's an urgent, direct command. And it's one that gets more and more intense with every single day that passes. So let's figure out why. All right, so where does all this urgency come from? Well, it really boils down to this one little phrase in the verse, as ye see the day approaching. And that, of course, raises the big question, what day are we talking about here? Well, according to our source material, we're talking about the day with a capital D, the day of the Lord, the prophesied return of Christ. This is not just another Tuesday on the calendar, folks. This is the grand finale, the climax of all of human history. And when you see it like that, it completely reframes this whole command to gather. It's not just a nice idea anymore, it becomes something of, well, cosmic importance. So how are we supposed to see this day coming? I mean, what are we looking for? The source material points us straight to the signs that Jesus himself talked about in the Gospel of Matthew. And the argument is pretty straightforward. You look at the headlines, the global conflicts, the crazy environmental stuff, this feeling of a moral drift. These aren't just random chaotic events. They're seen as prophetic markers, signs of the times. And this really illustrates a key point from our source. The call to get together has always been important. I mean, the early church did it while they were being persecuted. But the urgency isn't static. It's not a flat line. Think of it like a volume knob being turned up. The closer we get to the day, the louder and more urgent that call becomes. Okay, so we've talked about the why this is so urgent. Now let's get into the what. What does it actually mean to assemble? Because as our source material makes crystal clear, it's about a whole lot more than just showing up and sitting in the same room. This is so cool. The original Greek word used here is episynagoge, and it paints such a vivid picture. This isn't about passively showing up. No, the source compares it to troops rallying together before a big battle. It's active, it's intentional. It means everyone is locking in, getting ready, and has a part to play. It's a completely different vibe. And this just lays out the difference perfectly, right? On one side, you have just attending. Punching the time card, maybe catching the replay online later. It's passive. But on the other side, you've got true assembling. This is souls rubbing shoulders, stories spilling over, prayers rising up together in harmony. It's a collision of souls, not just a collection of bodies in a room. Huge difference. And this brings us to a pretty stark warning from our source. In this world that feels more and more fragmented, isolation is the enemy's favorite weapon. The whole strategy is to get us to believe we're better off on our own, that we don't need anyone else. But are we really? So that leads us right into the purpose of the gathering. It's not just being together for the sake of it. There's an action involved. The verse says we're supposed to be actively exhorting one another. And again, going back to the original Greek just unlocks so much meaning. The word here is parakaleo, and it literally means to call alongside. So this isn't about pointing fingers or criticizing someone. It's this beautiful picture of linking arms with someone, coming right alongside them and giving them both the comfort they need for their struggle and the challenge they need to keep going. So how does that actually work? What does it look like in real life? Well, it's kind of like this three-step process. First, someone is facing doubt, maybe even despair. Then the community steps in. They call alongside them with truth and encouragement. And the result? That person's faith gets fortified, it gets sharpened. It's this incredible, powerful cycle of building each other up. And our source uses a metaphor here that is just wow. It says that in what feels like the closing chapter of history, this kind of mutual encouragement, this exhortation, it's not just a nice bonus, it's not a luxury, it's oxygen. It's what we need to breathe, spiritually speaking. Okay, so let's bring it all home. What does this mean for us right now, today? Our source material frames this whole thing not as just another religious duty to check off a list, but as a critical, time-sensitive choice we all have to make. You know, the verse mentions the manner of some who had already stopped gathering, and that was 2,000 years ago. Our source suggests that this usually isn't some big, dramatic act of rebellion. It's a slow drift, a quiet apathy. And let's be honest, we've all felt it, haven't we? You're just too busy, too tired, you feel a little disconnected, and slowly you drift. So, how do we fight that drift? How do we stop it? Well, our source suggests we can totally flip the script with some really practical steps. It's all about a change in mindset, right? Stop seeing these get togethers as obligations and start seeing them for what they are, lifelines. And that last point there, that's so important. Just remember that your presence, you just showing up, might be the exact exhortation, the exact encouragement that someone else desperately needs that day. And so that leaves us with this final, really challenging question from our source. This isn't just some abstract theological debate. It's a deeply personal decision. The day is dawning, radiant and relentless. So the question is, will you meet it scattered, or will you be standing shoulder to shoulder,